Let me just start this Saturday video report by publicly apologizing to Josh Duffy for costing him his winning streak last night. As you know, Duffy has just been a revelation since coming to this site about a month ago. Absolutely deadly with his top-rated 100 dime releases, going for number 9 in a row last night in the NBA. A play that was twice as strong as his 50 dime sweep with the Broncos and the under in that little football game they had a few Sundays back. And I cost him that winning streak last night because unbeknownst to me, when I released my top-rated 15 dime play on the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, I didn't know Josh Duffy also had the Cleveland Cavaliers last night as he was going for 100 dime winner number 9 in a row in the NBA. And of course, those Cleveland Cavaliers, yes, that team of destiny, that team that LeBron has engineered, gotten the coach fired, played pseudo general manager, managed to take an 11-point lead as a 2.5-point favorite at Toronto into the contest, and they lose by a bucket. Go figure. It's been an interesting week in the NBA for me. Monday night, I had the 4th ever 20-dime play of my career on the Milwaukee Bucks. They were laying 9 at home against the LA Lakers, playing the second of back-to-back games on the road. They're up by 25 points, at home no less. Going into the fourth quarter, they only win by 7. And then Cleveland folds like a cheap suit last night and loses at Toronto. Sometimes you just have no luck. Forget about Buzzard's luck. There's just no luck. But as I've always said, the breaks, when they're going against you, you never think you're ever going to get one in your favor. But in reality, over the long haul, more often than not, they go in your favor. And it's just one of those things you have to weather the storm, which doesn't make losing any more tolerable. But you have to face reality, you know. Listen, it's like my wife with video poker, okay? I was telling her last week, she had 5 straight losing days at the casino. 5 straight losing days after hitting really big the week prior. And I said, that's the difference between you and me. You go expecting to win every single day, and then you're disappointed. I think that when you do what we do every single day, gambling, handicapping, it doesn't matter, or they're one and the same, that you have an expectation that you realize that you're going to have winning days, you're going to have losing days, and what ultimately you're looking for is that over the long haul, you have more winning days than losing days, and you turn a profit over the long haul. But you have to go into it knowing that some days you might just lose. You just can't have that, hey, the glass is always half full or half empty bit. No, you just have to have the realistic expectations that there are going to be times that you lose frequently, that you lose a lot, but over the long haul that you're going to make money. That's the realist approach, and that's the bottom line, and that's how I've managed to do this without going crazy. Otherwise, after games like last night with the Cavaliers, you know, I'd be sitting here drinking my Diet Iced Tea and having Adele spinning on the CD player, listening to her wallow in self-pity. Oh, did I cut up on Adele again? Damn, I got to let that poor girl go. By the way, you know, I gave her a break after the Grammys. I criticized everything else about the Grammys telecast a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't even mention anything about Adele because I felt bad because after her sound problems and that horrible live rendition she did of her latest song, I felt bad because, you know, whoever was her stylist and decided to make her hair and make her look like somebody that looks apparently like 67 years old, I mean, they should be shot. What were they thinking? Having her wear that ugly looking frock and with that old 67-year-old grandmother hairstyle. Ugh. Okay, so we move on. Today is Saturday. You know what the drill is, guys. Each and every Saturday, over the past 4.5 years, I've given you a money-saving discount coupon code that could potentially save you hundreds of dollars off your total purchase price, and today is no different. That coupon code is 23%. 23%, which means you save 23% off your total purchase price. As you know, it's a mix-and-match coupon, which means you can use it for any combination of handicappers' picks or packages. The only stipulation, it's a one-time usage coupon, which means you've got to put everything in your shopping cart at one time. You can't come in and get Steve Budin's big play on the late-night card and then an hour later go, oh, hey, I think I want Jeff Bannon's latest winner on the early card. Doesn't work like that. Everything in your shopping cart at one time to maximize your savings. Now, of the handicappers here that I would say have the biggest plays today, and I chose to put them out as discounted releases because you know I'm a firm believer that you don't have to spend big money to make big money. Chief among them would be Jeff Benton, who's going for winning day number 12 out of 14 and number 6 in a row, a stretch where he has made over the past dozen days, $10 bettors, a little over $6,300. 100 dime, top-rated winner, number 5 in a row. Big 12 Dead Mortal Lock, West Virginia, Oklahoma State side. Matches Thursdays, Pac-12 109 winner with California crushing UCLA. By the way, is Steve Alford going to have that job much longer? I don't think so. Matches his Wednesday, ACC lock on Louisville, winning at Pitt. Matches last Wednesday's 100-dimer in the ACC with Duke outright as an 8-point road dog against North Carolina in Chapel Hill. You got all those plays for over half price off. Same thing today. Get it for over half price off simply by using coupon code LOCK, LOCK. I had mentioned Steve Budin. Listen, his Cali Cartel, only the fourth college basketball play of the entire season. 59 plays. They are on a 34-21 roll after cashing in with Louisiana Monroe, a team that I'm going to talk about in just a moment, on Thursday night with the cover at South Alabama today. 100-dime odds makers era game of the year. It's LSU in Florida. It goes at 8:30 Eastern time, and I am making that the bailout special today since it's the biggest play on the nighttime card. 100 bailout is your coupon code. You save $55. That's 100 BAILOUT. 100 bailout. You save $55 for Steve Budin's Cali Cartel crew. All your other discounts, all your other promos over on the homepage. Let's get with it with the complimentary plays. What's really frustrating sometimes is that when you lose a game like I did last night with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then, of course, I give you a free selection with the Charlotte Hornets, a 4-point underdog, who win for the second time in a scheduling quirk on this current road trip of theirs that started prior to the All-Star break, winning for the second time outright as a road pup against the Indiana Pacers in Indianapolis. Yeah, that was your free pick. I won that. I lost with the Cavaliers. You know, Adele is sounding pretty good right now. I mean, I may have to wallow in my own pity today. Listen, I've got a lot of complimentary plays for you. I'm going to take a look at the games between UL Monroe and Troy, Arizona and Utah, Temple and Central Florida. I've got a couple of opinions on games that I did a lot of research on. I wanted to pass on my thoughts about those games, Kentucky and Vandy, and Rhode Island and Dayton. So let's get with it. Without further ado, I'll run these in reverse chronological order. First of all, for your plays, your official complimentary plays, shall we say. I'm going to go with UL Monroe. It's a game going at 5:15 Eastern Time. The Warhawks, yes, Monroe, Louisiana. The Warhawks are a 3.5-point favorite at Troy. Listen, this is a UL Monroe team that is capping a 4-game road trip today. They have won 9 out of 10 games, a stretch that started when they first beat Troy at home back in January 21st to be specific. This is a game which I think that they should win handily. I think that the price is too cheap. Again, they won the first game 85-74 at home as a 6-point favorite January 21st, and they are playing so much better ball now. Troy is coming off a 73-63 home loss to a far superior UL Lafayette team on Thursday night. But it was also a game that they were up by 12 points in halftime. They got smoked on their home floor in the second half of that contest. Meanwhile, UL Monroe, 66-59 win at South Alabama on Thursday as a 5-point favorite. They were up by 12 at halftime. They were down by 3 points with about 4.5 minutes to go, but they managed to rally and win the game despite hitting only 38.3% of their shots. I think in that particular game, Monroe was kind of having a little bit of a letdown because they were coming off a road upset of Texas Arlington, a game in which they also shot in the mid-30s from the field. But they won that game outright as a 7 or 8 point underdog. The thing that I like about UL Monroe is the balanced scoring. They've got the inside guy with Majok Deng, the 6'9" forward who's had matched a career high with 33 points in the first meeting, averaging about 19.7 rebounds a game. They got Justin Robertson, who's averaging 14-some points a game on the season, but he has scored at least 21, I believe, in 8 of his last 11 games. And lately, it's been the point guard, Nick Coppola, who has really come on strong offensively. So far on this road trip, he had 14 points against... who was it the other night? Against Troy, had 19 points at Arlington, had 15 points at Texas State. I believe that he has scored in double figures in 9 of the last 11 games as well. You got a Troy team that has failed to cover 9 of its last 12 games. And again, I think UL Monroe should be favored by at least 5.5 here in this game, not 2.5. So I'll take the Warhawks in this contest. Utah and Arizona. You talk about a one-sided series here. Arizona absolutely owns Utah in this one. They won the last 10 meetings. I think that streak comes to an end today. Utah, I was very impressed with the way the Utes did not get caught looking ahead to this big rematch or this big game when they were hosting Arizona State on Thursday night. What did they do in that game? Did you happen to read about it? They scored 30 of the first 32 points. 30 to 2 start, rolled to the easy 81-46 win in this one. It was their fifth straight win overall, their sixth consecutive home win. Wildcats, meanwhile, on Wednesday night, a 5.5 point road favorite, losing outright 75-72 at Colorado. Listen, this is not the most talented Arizona team here. This is not one of Sean Miller's better clubs. There's no big standout star or two to lead the offense. So it's no real surprise that this team not only has lost to Colorado, but on the Pac-12 highway has also lost at USC, has lost at UCLA, has lost to California as well. 4 road losses in conference play all season, already this season. They're a 3.5 point underdog today. This is going to be a closely contested game, but Utah, for the Utes, this is everything for them today. Love Utah in this contest, although not enough to put my own money on it. But listen, this is a Utah team that scores 79 points a game. They shoot 49.5% from the field. That's top 10 in the nation. This is a good team, and they also grab about 40 rebounds a game. They do a good job on the boards. So Utah gets the job done at home in that one. Your next complimentary play, I'm going to go with my Temple Owls. Minus the 12 at home today against Central Florida. Now, Central Florida is coming off an 88-61 loss at home to Houston. Before that, they lost 75-67 at home to Tulsa. Their last 2 road games, they lost by 17 at Memphis and by 14 at Houston. They have lost 6 straight games, a streak that ironically started at home with a 62-60 loss to Temple. And you're going, okay, I'm going to lay 12 points with Temple this time, even though the Owls were only able to win by 2 in Orlando the first time these two met. Well, yes, because I think there were extenuating circumstances, because Temple in that game was coming off a quadruple revenge overtime win at home against Tulsa. Less than 48 hours later, they're in Orlando. It was a tough spot. They were fortunate to win this game. Now they're back at home, coming off a 74-55 loss at Tulsa the other night. And I think this is a good spot to take Temple. I think the Owls put away Central Florida early. Listen, Temple might be sitting right there near the top of the AAC standings, but this is a team that's on the bubble with just 17 wins on the season. They have beaten a lot of good teams. They've had some nice non-conference wins. They have a good RPI, but 17 wins, you're right there on the bubble. You got to win, and you got to win convincingly today, and I think they do so. So those are your 3 official free plays. Once again, UL Monroe, Utah, and Temple, and I think I probably like them in that order as well if you were to put me in a corner and put a gun to my head. Now, the other 2 plays I want to talk about, Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Part of me looks at this game with Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Wildcats, a 1.5 point favorite at Vandy. And I think back to a couple Saturdays ago when Kentucky was a 2-point favorite at South Carolina. Coach Cal got ejected early in that one, and they won by 27 points. Something tells me this could be the same thing, especially since I like the way they rebounded at home, destroying Alabama by 25 points on Tuesday night after losing last Saturday in that somewhat controversial finish, 79-77 in overtime at Texas A&M. So part of me thinks that they can win this game. However, here's the thing. Kentucky has a lot of issues with its big men either not producing or not being 100% healthy. And Vandy is big. Now, the Commodores have been an underachieving team. The fact that they've won 4 of their last 5 overall really doesn't impress me that much. I mean, listen, they lost the first meeting, 76-57, in Lexington back on January 21st. But Vandy has covered 7 of the last 8. And again, it comes down to that height situation. So although I lean a little toward Kentucky, I worry about the Wildcats, whether they're going to be able to do a decent enough job on the boards. And yet, you look on paper, Kentucky is by far the better team. So I lean a little toward Kentucky in that contest, but I'm just wondering if that's a trap game. But then again, was it a trap game when they went to South Carolina 2 weeks ago, 2.5-point favorite, winning by 27? Nope. The other game is Dayton, minus 8.5 at home against Rhode Island. On the surface, Dayton would be the obvious play here. This is a Rhode Island team that has not performed well on the road all season, a Rhode Island team that just commits so many stupid fouls, especially on the road. They're constantly putting themselves down because they're allowing opponents to get all their free shots at the charity stripe. And this is a Rhode Island team that has watched its postseason chances of erode even further with their third leading scorer, Hassan Martin. Junior forward, is averaging 12 points, 5.6 rebounds, 2.6 blocks a game. He was hurt in their last game, the loss of Davidson with a knee injury. He's now gone for the season. Injuries have crippled this team. They lost with their best player, E.C. Matthews, the guard, 10 minutes into their first game to a season-ending knee injury. Now, Martin had 15 points and 10 rebounds in the first meeting, which Dayton won 60. Oh gosh, what was the final score? I want to say 66-64. I know it was a 2-point game, 68-66. That's what it was. It was a 2-point win in Rhode Island, in Kingston, back on February 12th. Now, the Rams have since lost both of their road games since losing to Dayton at home. Losing at VCU 83-67, losing at Davidson in their last game 65-54. The good news is that Dayton shot 52% in that first win on the road. The bad news is Dayton has not played well here at all of late. I mean, the Flyers, after beating Rhode Island, they lose their next two games to St. Joe's on the road and at home to St. Bonaventure. They allow 79 points in each of those games. And then they get back in the winning column by barely getting by a bad St. Louis team 52-49 on the road. Dayton's just not executing offensively right now. And you're asking me to lay 8.5 points with the Flyers. I know they out-rebounded Rhode Island 34-26 in the first go-round. I know they had 8 more defensive rebounds than Rhode Island did in the first go-round. I know they won that game hitting 52% of their shots on the road, despite the fact that they committed 18 turnovers. And I know they are by far the healthier team today. But they're just not playing in sync today. And let's face it, Rhode Island's going to give them everything they can handle defensively. So although I lean a little toward Dayton, I figured, hey, I handicapped the game. I at least give you my thoughts on it. So I lean a little toward Kentucky and Dayton. But again, the official free plays are going to be UL Monroe, followed by Utah, and then also my Temple Owls. That'll do it, guys. I wish you well, and I'll talk to you again on Sunday when we do this one more time.